While half of today's billionaires made their money through investments, technology, and manufacturing, will that hold true in 30 years? Well, I examined data from top venture capital firms, advice from our current crop of billionaires, and the forecast from the largest banks and institutions in the world, all of which will guide us on our path to becoming super rich. Venture capital is essentially an industry that scouts for billion-dollar companies when they're just beginning. They invest hundreds of millions of dollars hoping to return hundreds of billions. Let's look at what they're investing in to see what holds the most promise. Here's a short clip from Vinod Khosla, the man responsible for investing $15 billion.
So imagine all these things that are possible. I personally believe 80% of all jobs, so that's 64% of all jobs, will transition and be capable of being done by an AI.
Collectively, all the individuals and businesses in the US earn $20 trillion per year. If this hypothesis that 64% of jobs will be replaced by AI becomes true, this means that the people owning the job replacement companies are going to take home $12.8 trillion per year. This transition seems likely to produce the world's first trillionaire. We see companies like Figure, Boston Dynamics, and Tesla trying to get a piece of that pie. But it's not just AI that's a hotbed for future billionaires. We see areas like climate and biotech rapidly advancing, potentially offering solutions to the world's most difficult and thus valuable problems. The UN estimates that to reach our 1.5 degree climate rise, we're going to need to invest about $5 trillion per year until 2050 to hit that goal, while the firm McKinsey thinks that we need to invest $9 trillion. I'm not saying that we're going to hit this 1.5 degree climate goal, unfortunately, but if we were, that would be $275 trillion worth of investment before 2050. So we've identified AI and climate, but I think there's another area that would be worth looking into. Human health is an area that is absolutely exploding right now. Fields like stem cell therapies, nano-robot treatments, and treatments of aging are areas that will be hugely profitable in the next few decades. Okay, so we've examined the areas that venture capital firms are investing heavily in. But now I want to look to some advice that our current crop of billionaires gives about what they think the future will look like.
I would love to see, a trillion humans living in the solar system. If we had a trillion humans, we would have at any given time 1,000 Mozarts and 1,000 Einsteins. That would, our solar system would be full of life and intelligence and energy. And we can easily support a civilization that large with all of the resources in the solar system.
So what do you think that looks like? Giant space stations?
Yeah, the only way to get to that vision is with giant space stations. The planetary surfaces are just way too small. So you can, unless you turn them into giant space stations or something. But yeah, we will take materials from the moon and from near-Earth objects and from the asteroid belt and so on, and we'll build giant O'Neill-style colonies, and people will live in those. And they have a lot of advantages over planetary surfaces. You can spin them to get normal Earth gravity. You can put them where you want them.
I thought about what would most affect the future of humanity, and I wanted to be involved in those, at least some of those areas. And I thought there were 5 things that I came up with that I thought would really affect our future as a civilization. One of them was the internet, and then the other was sustainable energy, both production and consumption of that. And the third was making life multiplanetary. And then fourth and fifth were genetics and AI.
And lastly, Mark Zuckerberg has staked essentially his entire reputation and $50 billion of his own money into turning Facebook into Meta. If you want to get rich, you may want to look into online gaming, personalized media, and immersive entertainment as the world changes. Lastly, I wanted to follow up with some outlooks from some of the largest financial institutions and banks in the world to see their perspective. We're going to start with HSBC, one of the largest and leading global banks. And we're going to finish with a Goldman Sachs outlook related to emerging markets. Although real GDP growth has slowed in both developed and emerging economies, in relative terms, emerging markets growth continues to outstrip developed market growth. Our projections imply that the world's 5 largest economies in 2050, measured in real USD, will be China, the US, India, Indonesia, and Germany, with Indonesia displacing Brazil and Russia among the largest emerging markets. By 2075, with the appropriate policies and institutions, Nigeria, Pakistan, and Egypt could be among the world's largest economies. Thank you guys for listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed. We spoke about some of the trends that venture capital is looking into, some of the advice that the world's leading billionaires have given, and some of the outlooks that the largest financial institutions in the world have predicted for the future. I'm trying to use this information to position myself on one of the rising tides and kind of just ride the wave of success and technological growth that happens over the next half century. If you guys are interested in doing the same, I'm going to be continuing making videos related to education, self-development, and business. So if you're interested in any of those things, please subscribe, like the video, comment, and follow along as we continue to go down the rabbit hole. Thanks a lot for listening. I'll see you on the next one.